Hello, Daud. How are you?
Good, good. How's it going, Kianu?
Yeah, everything is normal as usual. Are you reading something?
Yeah, I was just reading. Sometimes I begin my rooms reading like passages and doing some like work. But yeah, I mean, if I can chat real quick about anything you want to talk about. I think the last time we had a discussion, it was on I think like an Islamic state. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Harun, how's it going?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so have you wavered in any way? Have you changed your mind or have considered anything since the last time we spoke?
It is
So,
not a philosophy, so it's really very difficult to change my mind. Like there is country like Islamic country, but there is no Christian country. There is no Vedic Sanatan country. There is no Buddhist country. There is no, what can I
sorry,
say?
define an Islamic country. What do you mean, Islamic country?
Islamic state or Sharia based country.
Which country is Islamic country?
Yeah, you can search like Afghanistan is one
I
of
don't think.
them.
No, I don't think so. I disagree. I don't think Afghanistan is
Yeah,
based.
you can see
No, I
like
don't think it's
you
100.
ask me
I don't think
you're
it's hundred
asking like
percent.
mhm.
No, I don't think it's hundred
Mhm.
percent. I think it has elements. It has elements, but just so does the UK have elements of Islamic law. So does every other country in the world have elements of Islamic law. But 100% absolute Islamic law, I don't think so, mate. I don't think there's any country in the world right now.
Okay, like you're saying that there's no country called
No,
Islamic country.
no, there's no country in the world that runs by the law of Islam from the Quran and Sunnah 100%. There's no country, mate.
Mhm.
Even in Afghanistan, there's certain things in the law that are contradicting Islam. Like, for example, women's education. Women's education. Islam promotes education and it encourages women to be educated. It encourages ilm, knowledge. Is recommended and is encouraged. So that's contradicts Islamic law. So it's not 100% Islamic law, mate.
No,
So there's
like
no
I'm
country.
not saying in that context. For example, like I have just searched, okay? Islamic states means Sharia-based government. There are few examples. Saudi Arab, okay, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Mauritania, okay? And there are certain countries who has Islam as the state religion. Okay, the core religion is Islam. Okay, and there are few
Hold on,
names:
hold on.
Egypt,
You're saying a lot of things
Jordan,
here, but
Morocco.
let's go one by one. You said I just searched. Is this all about googling? Like we are discussing your opinions or what you
It
think,
is facts.
not
It is
searching,
not
mate.
opinion. It is not opinion. Therefore, because see, AI, you cannot get your opinions. AI, you can get the data. Okay. So I'm
Where are you
saying
from, man? Where are you from? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm from India.
You're from India, right? Look, we're other than that, there's no country in the world that is run by 100% Quran and Sunnah Islamic law. There's no country,
See,
mate.
see,
I
see,
don't care
like
what
I'm
you're
not
searching.
saying 100%, 50%,
Yeah, 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 but
49%,
we're talking about
63%.
100%,
I'm not
mate. Yeah,
saying
but
that.
we're talking about 100. Yeah, but were you talking like, were you saying
No, but
60%, 50%?
Saudi Arab is considered as Islamic states. That is Sharia-based
No, no, they're
government. Okay.
considered as a Muslim majority state. Yeah, Muslim majority as a religion. Yeah, but the
I,
law
I
of the
I think
land.
that you do not understand Sharia-based government. This means the constitutions that Saudi Arabia has been following, the kind of constitution that Iran has been following, Afghanistan has been following, their constitution is derived from Quranic
What,
philosophy,
100%?
Islamic
100%?
philosophy.
Or how much is it from the? Is it 100%? Is it 50%? Is it 80%?
See, there are certain international forces that are not letting them to follow the 100% Islamic philosophy in their constitution. Otherwise, there will be lots of
What do you
social
mean there's
chaos in
foreign
society.
forces? I don't understand. What do you mean there's foreign forces that are not letting them run? What do you mean? Which foreign
Yeah,
forces are not letting them run there?
international forces, for example, like UN, okay? UN and some other international organization, they are forcing these countries to not follow Islamic philosophy up to 100%.
Alright.
Therefore,
So give
it
me
is
an
still
example.
illegal.
Give me an example from a particular country that's not allowing the UN is not allowing them to follow a particular teaching. Give me an example, mate. Don't just make a claim.
You have just said that no, like no country is following 100%. Are you
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
that?
yeah. I'm
So
saying
why
100%
they
no.
are not following 100%?
I don't know, mate. You know what to do, man. Give me a few weeks. I'll ring them up. I'll speak to them, and then I'll let you know. Yeah, why they're not
Yeah,
following?
these are the
So that's silly
international
thing, is it?
forces. Okay. I'm just using the keyword, okay? But there are
So
lots
the
and lots of
UN,
things
okay.
that I can.
So coming back to my point, back to my point that I said about women's education in Afghanistan. The UN, are you saying, is saying to them, do not give women education, so they are influenced by the UN? Is that what your claim is? What's your claim, mate?
No, no, like it is not my claim here. Like women education, it's a very recent activity in the Islamic State's country. Okay, like recently Saudi Arab allowed women to drive. Do you know that? Like it is recent activity.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with Islam, mate. That's nothing to do with Islam. Women
Yeah,
can't drive in
so
Islam.
why
So what's that got to
it
do with
is
Islam
because
then?
recently like Saudi Arab, okay, recently allowed women to do the driving, believe me, just because of the international forces. Otherwise, they would
No,
not
but what's
have
that got to do
they
with?
wouldn't have done it.
Hold on, mate. I don't, Sarah, you look. The thing is with Clubhouse is that not everyone is on the intellectual level. I'm not saying I'm a smart guy or whatever, but you're not following the
Mm.
conversation. I appreciate English is not your first language, and maybe there's some comprehension, issues, whatever. Yeah. Look, the point I'm trying to make is driving has not got anything to do with Quran and Sunnah and Islam. Okay, so don't bring
No,
driving in.
it has to do with, okay, it has to do with
No, no, but
women is
we're
considered
being very particular.
women, like women, they have considered as half knowledge as men. If you have 100%,
Women
it
knowledge
means
is half man.
a woman has 50% knowledge. Two women's knowledge
What
is
do you mean,
equal to
man? What do you mean? I
one
don't
knowledge.
understand. What do you mean a woman has half the knowledge of a man? What are you talking about? They have 50% knowledge. What do you mean?
Yeah, it is there in Quran.
What else are you
Women's
talking
are
about? What do
not
you mean?
intelligent. Women's are
Women
not
are not
intelligent.
intelligent. So
According to Quran,
if I bring a woman into the room now who's more intelligent than you, what would you say?
according to Quran, I'm saying.
Where? Show me in the Quran. Give me the references. Where it says women are not intelligent. Where does it say that?
Okay, okay. Just wait for a moment. If
Yeah,
you
I'll
really
be.
want if you really
Yeah. I
want that,
want to know,
first
man.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah. I
explain.
want to know because you're just saying things and you're just expecting people to believe it.
Wait,
Where in the Quran?
wait 1 second. You don't have to you don't have to go and do that,
Why
Kiano,
not? Why
because
not Dawood? Why not Dawood?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because
Okay, go on.
I don't want to entertain people's bogus readings of scripture. So like if he reads the Quran a certain way, that's him and his problem that he just
Yeah,
needs
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
sort
No, but
out.
look, he's made a point.
So
At least let him provide
wait,
the references. Then we don't need to discuss it. That's fine.
no,
I
no,
just
no.
want to know where he's got this from.
I'll tell you this. So a lot of non-Muslims will come up here and say like, oh, like there's
Is this
hold on,
individual a Muslim or is he a non-Muslim?
no, he's a non-Muslim. But the
Yeah,
point
yeah.
is
Then,
like,
oh my God, why are we
but
entertaining this guy then? Who is he, man? Like,
I know. So here because I think it's helpful for like this debate or this discussion, right, between the values of like secular
Can I read
humanism.
something?
No,
okay,
no, no,
go
you
back.
can't.
Oh,
You
tell me
can't.
where it says women are
Okay,
No, no,
not.
okay.
no,
It
no,
is
no, no. You
chapter
can't.
2,
So he's
chapter
lying.
2
You
Look,
verse.
can't.
Dawood, I'll tell you.
Wait, guys, listen. This is how I want to structure the room. I'm not going to entertain every. I think there's a certain limit to ignorance. I have to limit the kind of the ignorance that tends to be espoused in the rooms. So like somebody can pick that up and have that interpretive discussion with him. But Keanu, if you're reading it that way, that's fine. You have an improper reading. I don't know who's gonna take you seriously, but I'm not gonna dignify that by asking you. Let's have a serious discussion. If you believe that, that's fine.
Yeah, but
But
With all due
Like
respect,
maybe like
With all due respect, I'm gonna
do you have the app of
hold on. I
Quran
was speaking. I was
which
speaking,
you
man. I was
must
speaking.
have it?
With all due
I'm not
respect,
reading
Dawood, to you, brother.
I'm
With
not
all due,
reading it. I'm just gonna
yeah,
give you
yeah,
the
yeah,
verse.
no problem. I was
You can
speaking. You
read it by
interrupted me.
yourself.
I was speaking.
no,
Excuse me. I
Harun,
was speaking. Yeah.
Harun, let me.
Look, Dawood. This is my last. I'm just gonna quickly say this, and then you can continue with it if you want. Whatever. Yeah. With all due respect, Dawood. Yeah. You've had this guy on your stage. Of course, you've got an idiot on stage. He's gonna say idiotic things, right? So you're gonna take a bit of responsibility with who you give a platform to and who you allow to speak and on who you allow to say what. So Dawood, I thought he was a Muslim, bro. That's why I started speaking like this. I didn't know he was an Indian kafir. I didn't know if he was a kafir or a Muslim, bro. So
No, it's
you
okay.
know what
It's
I mean?
okay. And
He's on your
I'm not
stage.
trying
I
to.
didn't know you
Wait,
were in it. I didn't know.
no, it's okay. It's okay. Look, it's okay. I'm not trying to put him down, but I'm just saying. Look, let me put it to this. Let me put it to this. Let me put it this way. So Harun, right now I'm walking around the plaza. All right. Imagine if you're walking around a plaza and just some random like person who like smells horrible. He like smells like he didn't even take a shower. He looks a little bit insane or like smacked out of his mind. And he comes in. And he tells you like, look, I think your Quran it talks about dinosaurs. And let me show you the passages. You probably wouldn't entertain that. I mean, you might if you have some time, but for the most part, I would think like you wouldn't want to entertain that. You would probably just say, yeah, I recall those verses, and you would just go about your way. So I don't. I think we have to make better use of our time. I'm not gonna. Kianu, I'm sure when he reads the Quran, he reads it in the way that ISIS does.
Yeah,
That's fine for him.
let's change
I
the
don't. We
topic,
can't.
okay?
We can't.
No, no,
We're not here.
I
We're
have
not.
not
Wait. Hold on.
started. Like
Hold-
Harun has
Okay,
started.
okay, Kianu. Wait. Just give me a second. Let me speak to Harun first, and then I'll come back to you. So I'm saying, Harun, we don't even know if Kianu knows how to read point blank period. Like we don't like when he comes and he gives us a misreading, it's not our jobs to have to say like, look, especially a ridiculous reading like the one he just mentioned. So let's just so I think we can set that aside and say, look, assuming we're right, assuming we as Muslims who study the Quran and have a vested interest in studying the Quran, daily. Let's suppose where our reading is correct. Would you have a problem? That should be the question. Would this clash with your values? And then
Yeah,
we
but
could
the
take
thing
it
is,
from
brother,
there.
no, the thing is, brother, it's not about clash. It's not about reading. It's about biases. It's about being anti-Islam, anti-Muslim. This is what this is about, right? So you can see, it's not the Quran isn't a very difficult book like to read. It's just English. Like if you read in English, it's just a normal, just like a normal reading, right? Obviously, we believe it's word of God, so it's sacred to us. But like there's a big difference between women are not intelligent. Where I've read the Quran, I've never read this, right? So obviously this guy's got biases. He's an Islamophobe. He's an Indian. He's an Indian and he's a low IQ buffoon. So I don't know why you're even entertaining an Indian. Like the moment he told me he's from India, I stopped taking him seriously, sir. Actually, so I didn't bother. Like, why were you even wasting energy and time on giving these guys a platform to even speak, bro? There's Islamophobes, bro. The vast majority of them are going to be Islamophobes. They hate Islam. They hate Muslims. They persecute Muslims in their countries. They don't speak up for them. Minorities are all being persecuted. So why we even like, I thought this guy was a Muslim. He was coming in. He was having a conversation. This is why I was like, come on,
Wait,
what's
I'll
going
tell
on here, man? You get
I'll,
me?
I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
Jazakallah khair.
move the guy down, man.
No, no,
He's
no, no, no.
pointless.
I'll tell you why. MashaAllah, you're always respectful. I'll tell you why. Because Keanu he is always respectful. He's a genuine guy. He tries to have a genuine conversation. I'm not. Again, I'm not trying to put him. I'm not trying to put him down. I'm not trying to like say like that. He's insincere or an evil person or anything like that. I'm just simply saying when he has a particular reading, I don't have to entertain that reading. We can quickly say you're reading it wrong, brother. Go back to the drawing board or go back and do your and reread. Reread or
Yeah,
even
I
ask
mean
ChatGPT because
that's a
even
nice way,
so
brother Dawood.
so
That's a very nice way of saying it. But if you ask me what he's doing, I think he's lying on Quran. I think he's spreading misinformation, and he's belittling the Quran. He's belittling Muslim women, and he's belittling Muslims and Islam. That's what he's doing. And if I was the moderator, I would remove him down into the audience. That's what I would do. But obviously, you're very nicer than me, so I'll let you continue with your man. I'll chat to you guys later, man. I'm just got someone coming up.
Inshallah. So, Keanu, I think we no one this got out of control because clearly like no one agrees with your reading. So I think we can just set that aside. Like we're not going to agree with your the way you're reading it.
Yeah, it's
I guess
like it is
the
not
question,
something that I have started. Like he said that no, no, like women's they have the equal right from the very beginning of time. But I have said no, like in Islamic State country, okay, women got recently allowed to do the driving, okay, in 2018. It's a very recent act, okay, like how far? Like now we are having 2026, okay, so yeah, like 6, 7, 8, like 8 years ago. So, and the reason that Saudi Arab has to give them the allowance to do the driving is because of the international forces. Okay, but religiously they are not allowed to do the driving because they are considered as two men's intelligence is equal to one woman intelligence. Yeah, that's it. If you like to change the topic, I also like to change the topic. Just try to have a like normal discussion.
yeah. We're not. I'm not here to defend Saudi Arabia. So I think I could try. Like I don't mind doing that, but that would be separate from talking about Islam. Although there may or may not be like overlap, but it is going to be different. So that's why when you bring up Saudi Arabia to Muslims, people sometimes it just leads to confusion or it can lead to frustration. So in the case of Harun, I think I don't believe it, but I think what he was saying was reasonable about like how I think his concerns about you probably being like an Islamophobe and doing this deliberately. It's reason. I don't agree. I don't think like you have this evil agenda or anything like that. But I'm saying it becomes reasonable when. But the reason why I don't believe it's because I don't think you know what you're doing. I mean, I think for many people, it would I can see why they would want to like look to Saudi Arabia. But I'm just telling you right now, if you care about truth seeking, if you care about like engaging in these discussions in an intellectually honest way, then just make it clear. If you're talking about Saudi Arabia, you're talking about certain
See,
specific cultures, and if you're
see,
talking
see,
about
see,
Islam,
Dawood.
that's
See,
something
like I'm
else.
not saying, that you have to defend Saudi Arabia because maybe you're not from there. Okay, therefore you really do not have to defend, and you are just saying that I'm a Islamophobia. But no, see, it is a fact. Like Saudi Arabia is a Islamic state. Okay, that's the first thing. That's the first fact, and the second fact that I have just shared. Okay, let me like Saudi Arab. Okay, they allowed women to do the driving on June 24, 2018. Okay, it is not my point of view, it is not my philosophy, it is not a kind of like philosophy that promotes like I'm a kind of like Islamophobia or something like that. It's a fact. Okay, I know like I'm also a kind of like philosophical person. I like to engage in philosophical discussion, but if it is factual, then I think at that point of time we have to share some of the facts. But if it is totally philosophical, then we just have to use our logic, rationality, and experience and reasoning power. That's it. But the kind like he totally denied up to some certain extent that no, it is your point of view. No, it is not my point of view that Saudi Arabia is an Islamic state. It is a fact. So
Okay,
yeah, I really
if
do
it's a
not like in
fact,
which context you have
if
said that
it's
I'm having a Islamophobia or something.
okay, Keanu, if it's a fact, who else believes this except for you and pro-Saudi government people? So, with the exception of you and pro-Saudi people, who else believes that Saudi is an Islamic state?
No, like you are denying the fact that it is not Islamic State. Y-
You're saying it's not an opinion; it's a fact. Then I'm curious, who else besides you and like people who may be like pro-Saudi, and the government, who else believes
Pro
that
Saudi?
Saudi is an Islamic state?
like the entire nation, you really do not have to make a philosophy out of it. It's a fact, like Iran, Afghanistan, Saudi Arab. Okay, these are this Islamic state means like Sharia based government. Sharia means the philosophy that is derived from the Islam. Okay, they use that philosophy to construct their constitution there. Therefore, it is a Sharia based uh, government. Okay, or Islamic states if you use the English word, or if you go by the Arabic, then Sharia based government. It's like you mean to say that I'm the only one who believe that, but no, it's not like I'm the only one who believe 1 + 1 is equal to 2. The whole, all the people believe that 1 + 1 is equal to 2 because it's a fact.
Oh, okay, no problem. So if everyone believes that, can you find me? You would have no problem finding me one uh, trusted resource, one reliable resource that verifies what you're saying. By reliable, I mean like an academic source.
See, if just do the simple search. Okay, how many countries are there on this planet are Islamic states constitution or Sharia based government? How, like which countries they have Sharia based government? You will have the answer. See, if you want to have the direct fact, okay, because see, what is the full name of Modi? Okay, to know that, you really do not have to follow a specific, authentic, genuine website. It is a straightforward data. Therefore, you can ask the question to AI, okay, and they're gonna give you the direct answer because it's a straightforward question. And if you will have a kind of like, what is quantum physics? Okay, so at that point of time, you'll have to give me a specific website, okay, because there are lots and lots of factors, because it's not a straightforward definition, it's not a straightforward fact or something like that. So therefore, you have to give me a specific website. But the kind of things that I'm saying, it is a straightforward. It's not that much complex. That which
Kianu,
that countries, yeah, yeah, yeah.
do you remember what I'm asking for?
No, you are asking for a kind of authentic website through which I'm deriving these kind of understanding.
Any person of of authority, you know, maybe like someone who researches this, maybe an academic, someone who's maybe discussed, researched, or has written on these topics, any kind of like trusted authority. Can you give me anyone, considering that you said everyone believes it's an Islamic state? Can you give me anyone, one, not, it
Okay,
doesn't
okay,
have to be a
okay.
website.
Let me read something. Okay, okay. Let me see, as I already have said. Okay, because these questions are straightforward question. Therefore, in that context, you can use AI. Okay, but if the question contains with lots and lots of factors, as I have said, quantum physics, okay, there are lots of philosophers also use the word quantum, but they use it in a philosophical context. Okay, so quantum physics is a well established science and it has lots and lots of factors. Therefore, chat gpt cannot give you the proper answer. You'll have to refer to the authentic website that teaches you that what is quantum physics or something like that, because it's a very specific domain. Okay, but which country is democratic, which country is monarchical, which country is Islamic, which country is dictator? It's a straightforward question. Therefore, you can refer to AI. You really do not have to refer to authentic website or something like that. Let me read something. Okay, in these nations, Islam is the foundational framework for the entire political and legal system. States' law are derived directly from Islamic uh, jurisprudence. Okay, Sharia. Example: Saudi Arabia, Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Mauritania. Okay, and the second. Okay, these countries, they are not Islamic, but their state religion is Islam. Okay, their laws, their policies has not been derived from the Islamic philosophy, but the state religion is Islam. Okay, so these countries are like Egypt, Malaysia, Jordan, Morocco, United Arab um, Emirates, Qatar, so Oman. Okay, these countries, they're not, their constitution, they're not Islamic. Okay, but the country's religion is Islam. Okay, these are two different things. Okay, their constitution is derived from the Islamic philosophy. That's the first thing, and their core religion is Islam. That country's core religion is Islam. It is two different things. So the first one is like Islamic. Their constitution has been derived from the Islamic philosophy, like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Afghanistan.
Um, okay. Uh, so how do I say this? Okay, so you're using AI, which is fine. Can you ask what is an Islamic state? Or actually,
Yeah,
better yet, can you ask for a reference? Can you, if you're using ChatGPT, ask it. Uh,
Islamic state.
uh,
No, no. As I already have said, Islamic states is equal to Sharia-based government. Government, we know. Okay. What is the meaning of Sharia-based? What is the meaning of this phrase? Sharia-based means you have constructed your constitution through the philosophy of Islam. Okay, and now the question here: where does the philosophy of Islam comes from? Okay, that comes from hadiths, that comes from Quran, and that also comes from sunnahs. I'm not saying like whether that country is like I know that even if I talk about Iran, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arab, they're not following Islamic philosophy up to 100%. That is coming from Quran, Sunnahs, and Hadiths. Not 100% because, as I already have said, there are certain international forces. They're
listen to me.
restricting
Wait,
these countries to not follow
Keanu,
Islamic philosophy up to
Keanu,
100%.
listen to me. This is going to be a productive exercise. I don't want you to just like spitball here. So
Mhm.
so use ChatGPT and ask for an academic or someone who holds this view, someone who has published on this. Can you do that for me?
See what you're asking. Can you give me the research paper that China is a monarchical nation or China is not a dictatorship nation? It is like, do you really
I,
like? See, I'm not. See, see. That is the kind of question that you're asking. It is the fact that China is not monarchical in nature. China is not democratic in nature. China is highly dictator in nature. And I'm not gonna ask for any kind of evidence because I know it is there.
I
If
understand.
I
I
have
understand what you're.
researched
Wait,
that.
I understand what you're saying, but you are here. I don't know. I don't know why you want to die on this hill. Like you are the one who is persistent on this idea that Saudi is an Islamic state. When the other guy who was here told you that's not true, I'm telling you that's not true. I went further and I told you I don't think you can find anyone
Can you
who would
please
say that.
search? As I already
Wait,
have
what?
searched, can you
Keanu,
please
one second,
search?
1 second. Let me just. I just want to retrace like how we got here because it's not
Mhm.
about China. I'm saying I'm not here making claims on China. You, for whatever reason, actually I know the reason, but you insist on pushing this idea that Saudi is an Islamic state. I feel like then you would need to back that up. You make a good point about China, like, oh well, can you find one article? Okay, fair. But then what not only leads you to believe that Saudi is an Islamic state, I can get why you would infer that. But what what motivates you to insist on that fact is the question. And if you're gonna tell me that I can't find an article, and this is so difficult to like find an article and even use ChatGPT, then
Mhm.
I don't think you should be so persistent on that claim,
Okay.
especially
See.
when
Okay.
Keanu. I don't know, like man, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah.
you
So,
listen to people like Sam Harris. what's his name, Christopher Hitchens. You like to listen to these quote unquote rational intellectuals, right? Then why don't you be why don't you be rational here? Why don't you
Okay.
apply their method? So think about this rationally. You
Mhm.
you don't have to insist on this, right? I don't know
Okay.
how much you need this for your argument, but
Mhm.
but if you don't have anything, maybe you should not be so prepared to like to stick to that claim, right?
So like Dawood, like see, as I already have said, like, can you tell me? Okay, like first of all, let me say this. Okay, you are denying the fact that Saudi Arab is not a Islamic state or a Sharia-based government. Okay, you are saying that. Okay, but indirectly, what you are trying to say is that Saudi Arab is a democratic nation. No, it is not. You are saying that Saudi Arab is a dictator country. No, it is also not dictator. Okay, like what you are saying, it's very simple, like it's very common, like in which context you are saying. So like you just search right now. Okay, I already have searched, I also have given you the reason. I think that you also have to make an effort to actually search that whether Saudi Arab is a democratic nation or not. Okay, maybe there are certain Saudi people, they can claim that, oh, we are having democracy in here, but no, it is wrong. Okay, it is absolutely wrong. There is no such democracy there. There is no such kind of stuff. And the second thing, I also have given you the fact that Saudi Arab recently allowed women to drive into like 2018. Okay, like June or July, June or July 14th, 2018. It's a very recent activity, like 7 or 8 years ago Saudi Arabia has allowed women to drive. Okay, and they are following Islamic philosophy, and according to that, two women's intelligence is equal to one man intelligence, and therefore they are not they were not in the past, I'm saying,
I
they
hear
were not
I hear what you're saying,
allowing.
but you're kind of repeating yourself. I think look, the replays are on, so people can go and check. I'm pretty sure this is like the third time you're saying all this. The third time, not even the
No,
second time.
you are
So I
saying
get I
that
get what you're saying.
you are saying that Saudi Arabia is a democratic nation, yes or no?
Say, and I feel
Yeah.
like maybe you might resonate like with some of the idea where he's coming from, and it may help you articulate what you want to say, maybe hopefully a little bit better. Because I don't think
Yeah,
you get
that
what
is
I'm
true.
saying,
I'm
and I don't
sorry,
I don't
David.
think
I,
we
I
should.
was on I was on the phone, brother. First of all, good morning. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, yo? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. How you been? That's good, man. It's just crazy out here. Well, the weather's good though. So. Oh no, you're not over here no more, but you are north of me now. But the weather's still good over there where you are now. But anyway, go ahead. You got to fill me in. I came here because you pinged me.
Like not.
Question about an Islamic state and uh,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
versus
I
the
think that was
West.
last Saturday when I was getting crabs. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. So um,
I have a different thought. I think now. You remember this was I didn't have a firm stance on that yet. I had a revolving thought, but my revolving thought was based on who would be. I think we both had an agreement on things, and I think we differed on the title or the leader at the top. Wasn't that it? That was.
that's
What's your thought on it? Like, what's your thought on whether Saudi Arab is Sharia-based government or not? What's your thought on that?
just
Islamic
doesn't
Saudi
Huh?
Arab are Islamic state
he
or not?
doesn't want to leave this alone. I mean, I guess the question's for
Okay,
you.
like yeah,
It's
we can
fine. You can
change the
Neil.
topic.
You
I
can
think
answer it.
that we have been talking about this
No, it's
topic for a
okay.
very long time.
It's okay. Neil can answer it.
Kiana, can you
Yeah.
repeat your question for me, please, and just make it
Like
as simple?
Dawud is denying the facts that Saudi Arab is not Islamic state, but on the contrary, I'm saying that Saudi Arab is an Islamic state. That means Sharia-based government. What's your thought on that?
I mean, I lived there. Well, I used to live there, and it seemed pretty. Again, I'm not familiar at that time. I wasn't familiar with what Sharia law was, but if that's what they were practicing, it seemed pretty Sharia to me. I mean, you asked
Yes.
me a question like I mean, like I was a resident there for some years. So I mean, what do you want me to say? It was safe, and I felt fine.
So you are saying that it is like Sharia for you,
Was it fine for me?
or it's fine for you, have
Yeah.
said.
I guess you're not really stating anything that's clear and concise.
No, like as you have said that you live there, like as you have said that you live there. So do you think, like, what's your observation by living there? Is it they are following Islamic philosophies, or they are following democratic philosophies, or they are following dictatorship philosophies, or what kind of philosophies? Political, I'm saying, okay? Dictatorship,
Keanu, he said
monarchy,
he
democracy,
Keanu,
Sharia.
I think,
Keanu, he's
yeah, I
saying
think, yeah. Go ahead, though.
yeah, no, he's saying he agrees with you. I mean, unless I miss it. So he that right, Neil?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the beheadings. I've seen the not the castrations, but I've seen the people who were convicted of theft getting their fingers cut off. I mean, it seemed pretty. I'm in favor of stuff like that, but I'm a Christian too, so I have a different thought
So,
process. But I
like,
mean,
because you have been
yeah.
living over there for a very long time, so do you support the acts that has been made on the basis of the philosophy of Islam? For example, if
No,
someone
hold
has been,
on.
if someone has been, if someone has been found that he has stolen something, his hands has been cut off in front of public or something. So, do you support this kind of
Keanu, hold
practice?
on. Let me get in here before we go to like
Yeah, yeah.
before we make these the moral evaluation. So first on the descriptive part, like if first we have to get down if it really is or isn't. Now, um, so what I said, I think before Neil came,
Mm.
I was asking if why is it the case from my research, why is it the case that I could not find anyone who would support this view. Now Keanu seems to believe that there are people who would take this view, and of course, Neil, you've been there.
Uh,
So I asked Keanu, from the people who research politics, right? Is there anyone who has written about this who would stand firm on this claim? Anyone that Keanu has graciously decided to use ChatGPT, but it's still not clear if ChatGPT could give a reference. But I guess I should be prepared to give a reference to why I think otherwise. I there was a very influential book that was written by Wal Halak, titled "The Impossible State." Wal Halak, by the way, is not a Muslim, but he is he's a I think he was originally Christian. He's a Palestinian professor of Islamic studies at Columbia University. So it's a pretty big university. And in his book, The Impossible State, he argues that not only does he, hold that there is no current Islamic state, but that an Islamic state in the modern world would be an impossibility. So much so that even the term is a bit of an oxymoron. It just doesn't make sense. It's a contradiction in terms.
mm,
So Keanu, since you have
all right, good book.
ChatGPT pulled up, you can type in Wal Halak, I guess, to get like a brief summary of like what his argument is. Why does he hold that view? I tend to draw on his view, not because like I support the conclusion, but it's even his kind of his analysis, his understanding of
His
like nation
thought process.
states. Yeah, his analysis of nation states is very much in alignment with my understanding, my viewpoint of like how states operate. And it's not just from his work, but this was from my own independent research. So a lot of this is going to depend on like how we view states, like what's the definition of a state, what does it mean for an Islamic state to exist. One of the things I think like one of the misunderstood. So I'm open to people wanting to say that look, I think that, you know, Afghanistan is an Islamic state, Iran, for example, is an Islamic state, Saudi is an Islamic state. But but I think it's important to realize, or it's important to keep in mind whether someone holds that view just based on opinion, just like, well, this is just kind of like my opinion. So in the case of Kiano, I'm not sure where you're getting this from, but if it's just like an opinion based thing versus
Yeah.
something that they read that can contend against Halak's view, I'm sure there are some people that might contend against Halak's view, but then I would go further and ask, okay, why take this other author's view? Like, what's compelling about this other person's view versus Halak's view?
Mhm.
Because that's something I would want to
See, the thing
discuss
is that like
independently.
you
You
can
Dawood.
have you can have a good understanding of the language, and because you have a good understanding of the language you can write a book on it, but it doesn't mean that that is exactly what has been practicing in those countries. Is being Islamic nation means women should be covered. Being Islamic nation means the political system should be highly extreme patriarchal in nature. Okay, being Islamic nation means using like loudspeakers 5 times to impose the idea that Allah is the only, like Allah is the God and Prophet Muhammad is the last and final messenger. Okay, um, women should not be educated. These are the policies or philosophies of a being Islamic nation,
So wait,
and I
so
know
so
that
Kiana,
these
when you're making
and
these statements, when you're making these
I
statements, just out
also
of
like to
curiosity,
add like
before you before you before you
these
continue,
things cannot be practiced because of the international forces.
okay. So with that being said, you've made statements of fact. These are fact or opinion. I just want to know. I'm just curious.
These are the
Kiana.
exact practices that has been done in the that had been
No, no,
practiced in the
I
past.
understand the practice.
But
My question is simple: Is what you're saying a fact or an
it is a
opinion?
historical fact, yeah.
Okay, all right. So your fact statement is the things that
It
you've
is still a
described.
fact up to some certain extent. Like in those
This
Islamic nations, like
convo
India is
seems
not
to be
Islamic
kind of
country, but
vague and
still.
going nowhere, like for the
Yeah,
last 45
eh,
minutes. So,
yeah. I'm curious. So Keanu, here's the thing. I'm actually interested to hear what you're saying, but just like Brother Zanini right here, if I said your name wrong, forgive me. I'm trying to follow you, but I asked you earlier if you can just break everything down in simple forms and make it very concise. So that
yeah,
way,
let him repeat it for the fourth time. Like, yeah.
well, no, no, I know
It
I
is
want him
very
from here on
concise
out
in
to do
nature.
it.
Like I'm not in the mood of explaining these things. Like I'm
Got
just
it. So
use like
so
there's one point
so
that I would like
okay.
to
So
add here.
so Daud, you're saying that. So Daud, you okay? I get it. So basically, you're saying that society is not truly a true Islamic state. Um, is that what you're saying? No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I would agree.
Okay.
I want to say I would agree with Halak in the sense that some people think he's very strong. So actually I would say this. I am a little bit less pessimistic than Halak. Halak doesn't believe that an Islamic state could exist. Now there have been Islamists like radicals, like jihadists, who have taken Halak's thought and they've actually used it to further amplify their points to reinforce like their views and their vision and everything. So what do I mean by that? Like if we live in such a world where an Islamic state can't even emerge, then that further supports their view to resist or revolt against the whole like nation state enterprise, the whole like Western Westphalian nation state system, basically, or the quote unquote liberal world order. So you get people, and the funny thing is, interestingly, just on a side note, they draw on Marx too, which is pretty weird and funny. But anyways, but they do also draw on Halak, and I'm not as pessimistic. I actually think uh, I'm not too. I mean, I'm trying to think. This is what I've been doing recently on my own, and for my research, I've been trying to think of ways where a an Islamic state could exist. I do believe we just have to be a bit more imaginative. and I just need to think about like how it would look like. But yeah, you would have to have a more like decentralized system, greater checks and balances. I think one of the arguments for halak is that the typical uh, checks and balances system that we'd have, like the three branches of government, all work in favor of the state. So what you have is not like checks on power, but like a division of labor. I kind of agree with that actually. And I feel like in a pre-state system, you may have had a little bit of that where the different like branches work in favor of the state, but I think it was much more I don't know, much more decentralization. Some people who argue on behalf of the state will say, well, that's the point. Like the Republicans, neo-Republicans, but I don't know. You just have to think to yourself. So what does this leave me with? For me, yeah, I do think like if somebody wants to take the view that no, these Muslim countries are say, okay, I I would just say to people like Kianu, I just don't trust your political analysis. With all due respect, like I don't know what you've been reading, if you've read at all, but keep researching with ChatGPT, and I think you'll get your answers soon. I don't think serious people take that view.
No, I think that
The thing here
regarding
is
that,
that like
regarding whatever
it
state
is
or
good.
country it is, I mean, you guys, I'm always the firm belief that when in Rome, like if I'm not gonna go to your house and dictate any rules. I'm not gonna go to someone's country and use my origin of thought into a new country. I mean, imagine me acting like a typical American in Saudi Arabia. Like, really think about that. Act like that wouldn't exist, right? So that wouldn't work. Well, you're dealing now with the political infrastructure, and then also you're dealing with a moral infrastructure that they've already placed. I can't do that. That just wouldn't work. And I think that's typically where I'm going. So I'm of the firm belief that if I go to any of the countries of where you're from, I have to follow the rules and adhere to them, or leave. And I think that should exist everywhere. I'm in no position to. I don't believe that anyone should be in any position to go to a country that they're not from and that they did not participate in the political process and tell them how they should run their land. And I know I'm saying this as an American, and Americans do this all the time, so it's kind of contradictory. But I'm just not that kind of cat.
Like it is good that like although Dawood is a Muslim, but he supports democratic philosophy instead of supporting Islamic like
Did you
Sharia-based
tell him your
philosophy.
caveat, Dawood?
So
No,
yeah, yeah. So see, the thing
Did
here
you
is
tell him your
that
caveat with that?
yeah, yeah.
what is
That's
that?
what I'm
What
trying
is
to
my
say.
caveat?
You remember we both talked about democracy, but your caveat was as long as there's a an Islamic leader.
Yeah. So let
No, he
me.
supports like decentralization more. Like he emphasized upon the idea that decentralization is very important for the well-being of those people who live in that country, and it's a kind of democratic philosophy. Like you like all the power you should not contain. There should be a division of power. And that is like decentralization. So this philosophy is highly appreciated and highly emphasized in the philosophy of democracy, but not in the philosophy of dictatorship or like Islamic State, Islam, the country who has adopted the philosophy of Islamic State or Sharia based. See, the thing here is that these like Saudi Arab, Iran, the politically they're changing their laws, which is highly democratic in nature. That is the very source that Islamic philosophy is not working in the practical life. Therefore, for example, like there are few things that I would
Wait,
like to say.
no, Keanu, hold on.
Few
No,
points,
no,
few, just two
because
points, two or
wait,
three points.
let me tell you why.
So, for
Let me
example,
tell
like
you
there
why.
are certain laws that
Yeah,
has been changed. Okay, in Saudi,
Yeah, just
wait,
talking
hold on.
longer does not change the fact that we're trying to go it out.
Yeah, let me say why. I'll say why because I think there is like what Neil just said. I think there is more substantive things to disagree. Like I can tell you a view that I have that you guys would disagree, and it would be a view that reflects what I feel is more in alignment with Islam. But when you say things like, "Oh, you know, Islam is like it's not pro democracy and stuff," like we disagree. I don't agree with that. Maybe there are other Muslims who would agree with you, and then you can argue with them. but it doesn't make like, I don't want to keep arguing about your interpretation of Islam, right? Like if you have an interpretation of Islam that I think is just off, it's not my business to try and correct that. Like I think you just need to, but let me tell you what, how I view Islam. If you have worries that this is just my liberal view, people tend to criticize me on that. If you feel like that, I can back it up. I can say like, look, I'll show you how this is more mainstream than you think it is. But let's talk about like the issues with the way I see Islam. So like Neil said, yes, I do believe that the highest political office would go to a Muslim. Now I think I can convince you of that, Neil.
That
You don't
that
have
now
to.
you know for a fact that you can do all the convincing you have, but again, let me just say this. I hear you and I understand, but if the requirement is faith based in a place where there's a land of all religions, then I'm gonna have questions because it's just not something that I don't know. I don't see that happening. I don't see why I would. I have to bend and will. I have to bend to the will of Islam because of where I am in America. I would say specifically, I'm talking about America. I'm not talking about other states. Other states, I would understand.
See, like the Dawud, like you're making a very fundamental mistake. You are just emphasizing upon the ideas is that Islam supports the philosophy of democracy. See, in democracy we follow secularism. In democracy we follow liberalism. But in those Islamic nations they have the blasphemy law. Okay, which is not liberal in nature. Okay, but I like India is a democratic nation. Even US is a democratic nation, and because it's a democratic nation, therefore we have liberalism. Therefore you can say whatever the things that you want to say about God, against God, for God, anything about PM, about CM, about president, for or against, or even the God that majority of the people believe in. They really do not have the blasphemy law in US, like blasphemy law in Germany, or blasphemy law in like India. Okay, but we have an Islamic nation. So you cannot emphasize upon the ideas that Islamic philosophy supports the philosophy of democracy, because there's no liberalism which is supported by the Islamic philosophy. There is no secularism which has been supported by the Islamic philosophy. Secularism means what? Non-religious, uh, like nation. Okay, officially no religion will be recognized. Okay, in India, we officially do not recognize any of the religion, but it is also true that majority of the people in India, they are Hindu. But Hinduism, the religion that is called Hinduism, is not recognized constitutionally, or not considered, or not acknowledged, or not accepted constitutionally or officially, that this is
Wait,
the
so
official.
let me address these. Hold on, let me address these. Because I think there's some good points there, and but let me address Neil's point and then your points. The To Neil's point, Keanu, let's all focus on let's focus on one thing at a time, on like the right to excluding people from the highest political office on the basis of religion. So we already make some exclusions in the United States, for example, like to run for the highest office. Let's say like the president of the United States.
You have to be a
Uh,
born American citizen. I mean, you have to be
yeah,
born in America.
exactly. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you can't even be naturalized.
yeah.
Now,
So so you're that's not faith based.
I would say like it seems counterintuitive, but I also feel, and this is actually why I don't think you have an Islamic state. I don't think like an Islamic state will be possible in the modern world, because I'm envisioning a more modern world where the very idea of like citizenship, I think citizenship would also be based on religious identity.
But
Now,
your
some
your
people,
your mere thought of democracy is the democracy in itself is about freedom and right to choose and whatever what all those tenets we have in democracy. And if there is everything you have a freedom of this or right of this except for okay, if that means it's now no longer democracy. Example, everyone knows if you read the Constitution, America is not a democracy. We're not. We're by law we are not. America is not a democracy. I don't know why people get that confused. but they need to start reading. This is where
If
poli
it is
science
not
come in, and you know
democracy,
that,
I would
those.
love to
Let me wait.
understand.
Let me say
I
something
would
on
love
that. Yeah, I
Neil.
can easily solve that by saying I'm not wedded to demo. You're right, and if we're going,
Again,
so
Neil made a
wait,
humorous statement
wait,
that
hold on,
the
wait,
US is not a democratic nation.
hold on. So I was gonna say something on that. I think it depends. So if some, I actually agree with Neil actually, but I was using a more like relaxed notion of democracy.
I get
So
it. I get it. I get it.
I tend to talk about like democratizing. So for example, in Saudi, like I'm like, look, I'm fine if they're not going to be a like full-fledged democracy, but we still would agree that America is a pretty good country. I mean, America has really good like a good justice system. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And yeah, I get that it's an oligarchy and all that stuff and has issues with like, it falls the policies typically reflect the will of like corporations and stuff, but still
Yeah.
like America is largely democratized, and they have
Oh
things
no, no.
like
We operate under a demo. I mean, we operate under the tenets of it, but we're not a democracy.
yeah. So I'm fine with those kinds of like I the re, people in the many countries in the world we can't even secure the bare minimum. So I think if countries do their best to like democratize like largely, and one of the big things for me is like freedom of expression, freedom of speech, then I think I can overlook like I can overlook if you have countries like Saudi Arabia where it's kind of like a family that wants to rule, or in America where it's like corporation. I'm very tolerant, which is ironic because the liberalism tends to claim tolerance, but I'm very tolerant to like different possibilities. It doesn't have to be perfect. So in that sense, I'm thinking like an Islamic state could be largely democratized, can afford people, including immigrants, non-Muslims, great freedoms that would allow them to achieve productivity, success, happiness. But then all I ask for are certain restrictions. One restriction would be excluding the highest political office, and we do that
But
anyways.
but why? But why is that? We know we do that not based on faith.
Oh, so yeah, so let me
So
wait,
Daud, like
Keanu, hold on.
indirectly,
Wait, let me
Daud,
just say this one thing. Hold on,
Daud,
please,
like what
Keanu,
you're
please,
indirectly claiming is that
Keanu, hold
Kiana,
on.
you got to pause for a
Yeah,
second,
hold on.
bro. You got to pause for a
Yeah,
second.
give me, Keanu, give me a second. I'm gonna get to you too. So just trust me. So you said why do that? I do believe that we would have a country that runs its laws and its policy on the basis of faith. Now you can say that yeah you don't vibe with that. That's fine. But because I'm not saying this should be the standard for everyone. But I'm saying what I am saying is I believe that we can construct an Islamic state. I believe an Islamic state can look this way. I do believe an Islamic state could afford people that are non-Muslims, rights and economic productivity, opportunities, and all those kind of things. It's not an. I feel like when it comes to like hierarchies, what is it? The Maslow's hierarchy of
Hierarchy
needs.
of needs,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think everybody is like, oh, if I can't run for the highest office, I don't want to even live there. No, like you can
No.
envision something like so wait, so let me
Go
just
ahead.
say
Go ahead.
so
I'm
what I would
sorry.
say is yeah, so what I would say is like in our political think of it like this, in our political community,
Uh huh.
we would want to run our country in a way where we are motivated and our policies are largely reflected on like what our faith tells us.
Uh huh.
Yeah, so then what would
All
be
right.
the issue with that?
Okay. So with that being, so my response
can
is
I
very
say something?
simple. It's I'll try to minimize it as quick as fast as possible. Look, regarding the concept of someone being born on that land, I think that's all said and done because they have a stake. They have a strong stake in it. Yes, there could be other people who contributed more for the country than the person born. The requirement that America had in its founding doctrine, um, contrary to what I mean, obviously there were 55 of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence being Christian. Every state that signed it also had to have a moral clause in it, a religious clause. I think 9 of the 13 states' constitution had a requirement whether you were Protestant. The other ones had a Catholic requirement. Then there was one that had I think Pennsylvania was a supreme deity. Um, so we understand that there was I guess, a more Protestant leaning clause in the foundation of America. Now, is it possible for what you're saying, Dawood, for a state to exist with all of your dream list, your wish list? 100%. And I would have no problem living there. Um, But in this country, because of how this country was set up, that's the part where I disagree. But if there was a country where you were the president, I am sure I would be safe and happy to practice and do my own thing. I'm perfectly fine with that. But
Mm,
I'm talking specifically on what you and I were talking about related to America. Now, if we
yeah, like
decided to, if we were billionaires and trillionaires and we built an island and we adhered to your constitution, I, I'd have no problem living there. I mean, I wouldn't give up my citizenship for America because I'm still, a disabled veteran, and y'all got to pay y'all taxes so I can
yeah,
live.
so like there are a few things that I would
Wait,
like to say. Like as Daud
I,
has said, that America has been democratized. Indirectly, what you are saying is that America was a Christian nation, but slowly by slowly, it has been democratized. So now my question here is that when do you think that America was Christian, was a Christian country legally, politically, constitutionally, and when it started to democratize itself? No, from the very beginning, it was
Okay,
a
so
democratic nation.
the answer is
And
very
yeah,
simple.
yeah,
Well, you asked the
yeah,
question. I'm trying to give you the
you
answer.
can, yeah, you can keep that question for a while. Let me complete
Well,
three
no, no,
points.
no, because I'm gonna forget it. And me and Dawood, we like to attack. We like to actually answer as you ask it. So
Yeah,
you can, what you
but
can
let me
do.
complete
So then,
two or three
Keanu, how about
points.
this,
Then I
Keanu?
have to
How
leave.
about this, Keanu? Can you at least then write it down, put it in the chat, so that way we can come back to it? Like
Yeah, what?
if you have a set of 3 and 4 questions, and you want us to be
No,
able to
no, not
memorize and
question, not
answer it.
question, not like points I have. So this is the only question that I have. But
Oh, you're not familiar with how the American Constitution and the foundation of
yeah,
the.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Let
okay,
me
okay,
like
okay.
if I am wrong, then I would like to learn something from you because I'm using
No,
this
I get it.
application specifically to learn from this stranger. Okay, and you are one of them, and I'm learning from Dawud and from you as well. So that is my like this is specifically my question from Dawud because he claimed that in like America has been democratized. So he thinks that America was a Christian at some point of time. So when it was a Christian nation and when it started to democratize itself. And second, uh, you say like how you look at how you can how you want to construct the Islamic state. Okay, no, it is not your personal philosophy through which Islamic state has been constructed. We normally use three things in order to construct the Islamic state. We use certain philosophy, and specifically those philosophies comes from Quran, you and Quran. Like Quran is bigger than you. Okay, your personal philosophy is like less than the philosophy of Quran, or it is not just a philosophy. You know that, like as a Muslim you must know, like the Quran is not just a philosophy, it is the revelation of God. And the philosophy has been derived from hadiths, philosophy has been derived from sunnahs. Okay, so it is not your personal philosophy that I can use to construct that what should be the law, what should be the philosophy in the Islamic State. Okay, your personal philosophy, it's irrelevant, it's irrational, it's illogical. Specifically, those philosophies come from these three things which I have just mentioned. And
You want to do this, Dawood? Or you want me to
that's
do
it.
it?
Yeah, yeah. That's it. If you would like to react on.
yeah, yeah, you can
All
take
right.
some of
So
the.
let's go off of this. Keanu, are you familiar with the foundation of America?
Yeah, I'm aware, and I think that USA is the only country that advertise the value, the philosophy of the philosophy of democracy around all the globe, around
Got it.
all the nation.
Got it. Got it. So let me help you out, Rick. Have you ever heard? Do you know what a constitutional republic is?
What constitutes a republic?
No, 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 no. Have you ever heard of the phrase constitutional republic?
Constitutional republic.
Yes.
I have heard, but
Got it. So
I
do
really
me
do
a
not know
favor.
the technical meaning. Yeah.
So before we go into that, because it's a little complex. It's simple, but it's complex. But what I would advise you to do is just go to your chat GPT and just ask about America and it being a constitutional republic.
No,
So
you're
we
using
have,
this word. You're using this word, but you made a very big claim that I just want to get the answer from
oh,
you.
that
You
America is
have
not a
said
democracy.
that America is not a democracy. It's a
Well,
very
that's true.
huge political claim.
So the
How
reason
can you
why,
say that?
well, because you have, all right. So you don't know what a constitutional republic is. So because of that, you
No, no,
think
no.
that
You're using this word, but first of all, you have to answer your own claim. Do you think that America is democratic nation or not? Then we can talk about like
no,
constitutional republic. That's a
no.
secondary thing.
I'm answering the question, but sir, what you're doing is you're relying on your own individual thought of what you think a